Good afternoon, everyone, and Happy New Year to the people of Easton. We're back in town. We did my first show, my first Topic Time show of 2022 last night at my other location, Area 58. Now we're here in Easton. Have some more great Topic Time shows, and we're starting out with a Zoom show. I have an awesome musician on named Gary Dolinsky, but before we get to him, got to read these great underwriters, and then we will commence per usual. So, we got Auto Country, King of the Used Car in Abington, #1 in the dealer raters for 2021 out of 4,500. We got Johnny Macaroni's Restaurants, 3 locations, 2 in East Bridgewater, 1 in Halifax. We got Lynch's Towing Auto Cycle and Truck Center in Brockton. We got John's Greenhouses and Florist Shop in Brockton. We got C&J Auto Body Auto Glass Towing in Stoughton. We got Shovel Shop Spirits right in Northeastern. We got Eli's Auto Repair in Taunton. We got Vape Solutions in East Bridgewater. We got Dancer's Dream in Whitman. We got Auto Town Auto Glass installed in Abington. We got Britain Tire Service in Brockton. We got Big Lee's Automotive. They're going to be moved to Hanover February 1st. We got Easton Fitness in the Village Shops in Northeastern. We got the Gun Runner LLC in Middleborough, dedicated to your Second Amendment rights. We got RW Carpet and Flooring in business for 50 years for floors and coverings. We have Doggy Boutique, and that's ROW and Flooring. It's in Norton. We got Doggy Boutique, Aubrey Professional Grooming for dogs and cats in Brockton, run by my great next-door neighbor, Debbie Siddell. We got Speedy Oil Change in Abington. We got Grant's Rental in Bridgewater, and we got Joe's Diner in Taunton. And I want to thank you guys very much. Now, on that note, I'll introduce Mr. Gary Dolinsky. Doing the Zoom show. We had some issues we had some technical issues. We're working kind of, like a little inundation because things weren't going the way we expected. We were actually doing the show through our phones because we were having issues with the sound, but I think we're going to be okay. Gary, I want to thank you for being on my show and taking time out of your busy day to talk to me and play some music in a few minutes like you're going to do, and we'll have an awesome show.
Thank you, Harrison. Thank you for having me. I know it's the technical glitches can be a little frustrating.
It can be a lot frustrating, but we're gonna make it work anyway. All right, Gary. So what I do with every guest, regardless of whether you're near or far, I like to find out about you specifically. Tell me where you grew up, how you got into music, anything else that comes to mind. I'll throw the questions in there, and we'll be an easy back and forth conversation. So go ahead, talk about your how it all began for you.
Well, I began in southern Connecticut. That's where I was born and raised.
Okay.
Just outside of New Haven, actually in a town called North Haven, which is a suburb of New Haven.
I actually did a show there in 2011.
Did you really?
At a pizza restaurant. I used to go on the road all the time.
Wow, a pizza restaurant in New Haven or North Haven?
No, it was North Haven. It was that end of the city. I remember it was actually Friday. It was Thursday, November 17th, 2011. And it was a long trip. I had to go to Boston and rent some equipment before I went all the way down there. So I had to go in one direction and then turn around and go completely in the other. And it was worth it. It was a fun show for sure. Nothing like I'd ever done before. Most of my shows on the road always were like that. But okay, you grew up in North.
Well, no, but the thing is, if you're gonna have pizza, New Haven, Connecticut's the place to go.
So I hear, yeah, I know. I didn't eat any pizza. I didn't, I just did the show, and there were some people. We were doing a simulcast with a radio station, with a radio show that was going on an AM station. All right, so you grew up in North Haven, Connecticut. How long, and when did you?
Okay, so how I got into music, I mean, really give you the short, the Reader's Digest version. I started taking piano lessons when I was 7 or 8. I was actually trained classically on the piano, but being a child of the '60s, the Beatles came along, and I definitely wanted to play guitar. And I always loved music, and my parents finally gave in and got me a guitar when I was about 11 or 12. And I still play some piano, but primarily I'm a string player. Been playing guitar. I played in some rock bands, but been playing acoustic mostly since my 20s, and doing mostly kind of traditional folk music and writing a little bit of my own music.
Okay, cool. That's I understand. So basically, some covers, some original.
Yeah, and I've played in a couple of different kind of bands. Some doing traditional Irish music, sometimes bluegrass. Other times we wrote our own stuff. So I've played I really enjoy a lot of Americana music, if you will, but I also enjoy a lot of music from Ireland and from England and Scotland as well.
Oh, okay, yeah. Nothing with bagpipes, though, right?
No bagpipes. I do play, I'm not going to play it tonight, but I do play squeeze box, concertina, and I also play something called an Irish bouzouki, which is really just a large mandolin. It's adopted from the Greek instrument, what they call a bouzouki. So They use it a lot in Irish music now.
Okay, do they use that one in Riverdance?
They might, mostly what you see in Riverdance is fiddles and accordions, but they might have a bouzouki in there, actually. Who knows?
And the only squeeze box I know of is that song by The Who from 1975, which I'm sure you're also familiar with.
I am, Oh, he's in and out and in and out.
In and out, that's it.
Yeah, Mama's got a squeeze box, but
rock and roll or whatever. I know. Yeah, you and I I'm guessing we're around the same age. I grew up in the '60s too, and I actually started taking piano lessons at 6, and I did it for 7 years. And everybody told me I was very talented, but I couldn't stick with it. This is my calling right here. I've done a lot of different creative things in life, and doing the show seems to be the most successful thing so far. And it took me over 50 years to figure that out.
At least you got to figure it out, and you're doing it, so that's great.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. All right. So tell me, why did you migrate to? Where do you live in now? Saugus?
No, I actually live up in Danvers.
Danvers, pretty close. Okay, up north of Boston. So why did you move up? Why did you migrate up north of Boston from North Haven, Connecticut?
Well, for a while, I actually went to Clark University for undergraduate in Worcester,
Right.
and then from there I wound up actually in California of all places at a graduate school, and then after I lived in California for about 5 years, moved back to upstate New York, and then lived in around Albany for about 5 years, and then I wound up coming to the North Shore, one, because I love this area, and there was a job available, and so I grabbed it. I interviewed and got it, and moved here back in 1987, and I've been living around the Salem-Danvers area basically since then. I lived a little bit up in Gloucester for a few years, and down here. So that's how I kind of call this home now.
That's cool. Okay, yeah, I have relatives in Salem too. They're all witches. I like the joke, but they're really awesome people. Okay, all right. Yeah. So what did you major in school? What kind of music, or was something else? Was it something else?
I thought about doing music, but I kept it a hobby. I wound up majoring in psychology, and I became a psychologist.
Really? Okay, that's awesome. See, I love asking questions that bring out more information than I expected. This is fascinating. You became a psychologist. Are you still one?
I am, technically, although I retired. I stopped working just about 2 years ago. I decided I want to do other things in my life at this point. I was able to financially be comfortable enough to do that, so I'm I was hoping to do, except COVID got in the way, to do more traveling and music and everything else. So that's my hope.
Okay, well, that's amazing. Did you have your own practice, or were you working with a crew of people?
I've worked all over. I mean, I've worked at North Shore Medical Center. I've worked at a place up in Salem called the North. It's no longer there anymore. It was called the North Shore Community Mental Health Center. It was right on Federal Street in Salem. And then I also worked for a few years down in Cambridge Hospital, which is actually the part I worked in was actually in Somerville, and I was affiliated with them for 7 or 8 years. Doing work there, but then and the rest of the time I was in private practice. Yeah.
Okay. Just curious, did you use any of your music for therapy for your patients? I'm sure it can definitely be soothing.
It's interesting. A lot of people ask me that. And there's some great music therapists out there. I never really incorporated that. I always kept my music separate from what I considered my work or my career. I wanted to I didn't want to blend the two, so I figured there's probably a music therapist who's really good at it. I did other stuff. I did a lot of work with people, as you might guess, with depression, anxiety, stress-related disorders. The field I worked in was something called behavioral medicine or health psychology, and it's all about how mental stress can result in physical stress. And so learning that if you worry a lot, you might get tension headaches, or you might have stomach upset, and it's learning how to help people manage those kinds of emotional factors and thinking factors that can contribute to the physical problems.
Oh, I understand. Do you work with anyone with autism, or did you ever?
I have. But again, that's not a specialty area of mine. Actually, my partner, she actually works in a ski program where she works almost exclusively with a lot of kids and adults on the autism spectrum, and she teaches them how to ski and stuff. But I didn't do that.
Oh, because I have autism, so the fact that I'm doing a show like this is pretty awesome. No, yeah.
Yeah, that's very awesome. No, that's awesome. Yeah, that wasn't, again, I kind of narrowed my focus on what I felt really, what I was good at, you know, and so I worked a lot with folks just trying to help them on multiple levels, you know, help them self-regulate and help them manage their own emotions and their life stress, basically.
Well, you seem like you have a very calming, you know, tone of voice, and I think I have a hunch that was very helpful to you during your therapy sessions to the patients.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I used to actually, when I was younger, I thought my voice was a little better. I used to do a lot of hypnosis as well, and hypnotic work and relaxation therapy work. So people said, you know, further and further, you may find yourself feeling even more relaxed and at ease. That type of thing.
You just made me relax more than I've been all day.
I'm trying to relax myself right now.
Okay, listen, you want to play, you want to bring a pic, can you, I know this is a bit challenging because you have to hold the phone because of our technical issues. You want to try play a couple of original songs on your guitar and sing as you do that? Is that doable, you think?
Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the phone down.
Okay.
But I'm assuming you're hearing me through my microphone here.
Okay, fine. And then, okay, you can hear me through my phone. Got it. All right, sure. Let's do whatever you got to do, and I think it'll come out awesome. Go ahead.
And do you want me to sing 2 songs in a row?
Yeah, do 2 in a row. I'll do 2 in a row, and then we'll talk about them, and then continue the interview afterwards. And I'll take a little break while you do that. Is that okay?
Okay, I'm going to put the phone down.
Okay.
Just getting myself set up here. So this is an original song called "Same Old Used to Be." I wrote it actually probably about 10 or 13, or actually let me take that back, about 12 or 13 years ago. It's the meaning is kind of buried in the words, but it's about how the more things change, the more things seem to stay the same.
Cool.
Same old used to be. Yeah. Yeah, you're looking like you did all those years ago, before you got your act together, and you didn't do that no more, but now you're back. You're like a freight train rolling down the track. Things you're doing kind of freaking me, 'cause you're right back to your same old used to be. What can I do now? I feel so all alone. Maybe I'll just run away, but I know I could only get so far. You be right back in my face. Everywhere I look, it's a return to the old. Yeah, you got your vintage mindset, and you're wearing your retro clothes. Oh, what the hey? Everybody for themselves. Does it matter if it's Harvard or Yale? Just remember, only the strong shall prevail. Oh no, here they come. You said if it don't fit, you're gonna make it like you did all those years ago. And if they don't like it, they're gonna learn how to take it. So never question the authorities, 'cause you're right back to your same old used to be. What can I do now? I feel so all alone. Maybe I'll just run away, but I know I'd only get so far. You'd be right back in my face, looking like you did all those years ago before you got your act together. And you didn't do that no more, but now you're back. You're like that freight train coming down the track. Things you're doing are freaking me, 'cause you're right back to your same old used to be. Yeah.
Well, that was great. Hey, no explanations needed for those lyrics. That was perfect. Okay. Okay.
So, yeah, well, thank
All right, no explanations needed. That was great lyrics. Those were great.
So I have I can set up quickly and do another.
Yeah, do another one. Okay.
And this one I'll just have to tune a little bit differently, and then I'll explain it.
Okay, no problem.
So this next tune I wrote about about 30 or 31 years ago. I was in a band, a duo called Compass Rose, and we were doing quite well. In the late 80s and early 90s, we had a lot of local college station airplay, and we were opening up for a lot of folk musicians at like downtown Boston at Passim Music Club and all around the South and North Shores. And this is a song about a windmill in Cape Cod, and it's called Windmill Lane. It's all about a couple who are breaking up and moving on in front of this windmill. And I wrote it in the tradition of kind of what you might consider an English or an Irish folk song. So it has this kind of interesting open tuning. And I just want to make sure it sounds good. All right, I'm going to try it. Here we go. In Chatham Town, there's an old lonesome road. Wander it down, it'll take you where it goes. To see two lovers break their honor chain, part their ways down Windmill Lane. Who can forget the summer sky? My lover's touch so warm, so kind. She held him close, she kissed him, and then said we'll part our ways here in Windmill Lane. The summer sun, it has come and gone, and the winter wind, it's blowing strong. It chills the breeze just once again. The meadow's all about Windmill Lane. The old mill creaks as it turns and grinds, marking out the passing of the time. The icy moon waxes and it wanes, watching over all down Windmill Lane. The summer sun, it's come and gone. The winter wind, well, it's blowing strong, and it chills the breezes once again. The meadow's all about Windmill Lane. So all of you listen to this song. Seek out a love that is both honest and strong. And beware of things that keep turning in the rain. Much like you find down Windmill Lane. Summer sun, it's come and gone. Winter winds, they're blowing strong, and they chill the breezes once again. The meadow's all about Windmill Lane.
Pick up the phone. Oh, that was swell.
All right.
Yeah, sounded so, it sounded very folksy, bluesy. Yeah, get that Irish flavor too.
I mix all of that in. Actually, one of my favorite bands from way back was a band called Pentangle, and they mixed traditional British music with kind of American folk and American blues, and it's kind of an interesting mix of stuff. But yeah, you heard all of that.
Of course.
That's nice, yeah.
My favorite.
Go ahead.
My favorite Irish band of all time were the Irish Rovers. A long time ago when the earth was green, there were more kind of animals than you ever seen. Some cats and rats and elephants, but sure as you're born, the loveliest of them all was the unicorn. You just brought that to mind. That was my favorite song back in 1968 in that spring.
I remember the unicorn song. Yeah, they did a lot of great tunes. Yeah. And that song was written by Shel Silverstein, I believe. Actually,
What the unicorn was? Oh wow, Silverstein? That's unbelievable.
Shel Silverstein wrote the song, but they made it a hit. Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. You see, that's amazing. See, I would have for 54 years I thought it was written by someone that was Irish, but Silverstein does not sound Irish.
No, and I think he was a New York Jew.
I mean,
cool.
he was but he was also, Shel Silverstein was great. He wrote books, he wrote a lot of poetry, and really a very talented guy.
Well, so are you. I mean, that was incredible.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I used to do that song. Well, I've done it. I did that song with Compass Rose. I was also in a band and for the last 10, 11 years, although COVID unfortunately stopped us in our tracks. We're called Wild Maple, and we do have a website called wildmapleband.com, and which is still up, and we have a lot of videos and music up there, and so who knows? We'll see what happens in the next year or two with the way things are going in this world we live in.
I know. So where have you traveled around the country to do your music? Just New England, or did you did you do any of that in California too, or anywhere in between here and there?
No, I played a lot of music in California when I lived there, around the San Francisco area, and actually in the Central Valley, which is places like Fresno and...
It's Northern California, right?
Yeah, I lived up in mostly Northern California. I wasn't in Southern California.
Oh, you weren't? Okay, when they were during the summer of love in '67, by any chance were you there then?
No, that
It was a little before my time. I wish I was out. I wish I was old enough to have been out there then, but no, I didn't get out there until about 1977, so I was 10 years too late.
10 years, right. Okay, that's when I graduated high school, so you must have been, unless you were going to high school there, You might be a little older than me, but I couldn't tell from looking at you.
No, I was born, let's see, I was 23 when I entered graduate school, so probably a few years older than you, yeah.
Wow, incredible. Yeah, no, it's always cool when I see someone I think is younger that's older, because it makes me feel like I'm not as old as I thought I was.
You're not as old as
So thank you.
No, I know. I feel pretty good. And you look. Yeah. So
you look good too.
thank you. Okay. So what was that job that you told me about? You just grabbed. Is that in the psychotherapy field, or was it something else? Remember you said you grabbed the job when you came back here to grab.
Oh, no, that was.
When I say grabbed, yeah, I applied for a job. It was I was a director of psychological services at that clinic in Salem.
Okay,
So
that's-
I was, I had traveled around the North Shore, back in the mid '80s, and I really loved it. And I got that job, and I was thrilled to move here. Although the cost of living here, back even like it is now, but back then you paid a lot more for a house in the 1980s in Boston than you did in Albany. But I really loved living north of Boston. I love Boston. I also like being able to go up to New Hampshire and Maine. It's also not that far from where my parents lived in Connecticut, so I was able to get down and visit them. So it worked out really well.
Yeah, and I love Gloucester. That's one of my and Ipswich and all those North Shore towns too. I was actually in a music video up in Salisbury over the summer, and that came out awesome too.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful up there.
Yeah.
That.
All
Well,
right, well, I know
Harrison,
you're
where'd you grow up?
I'm Brockton, and I'm still there.
Okay.
City of champions and shoes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been there 62 years. Hard to believe.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's great.
I wasn't born there. I was born in North Carolina because my father was in the service. But when 2 months old, we migrated, and then it's pretty much that's where I spent my youth, and I'm still there. And my accent kind of like gives it away. I sort of have the Boston dialect that I'll never lose. Well, I see you planning. In fact, I know you're planning a trip to the northern states today, right? I know you were going to go up there.
Yeah, it's up to New Hampshire.
Right. Well, I don't want to. Well, guess what? Well, you can be leaving pretty soon because we're down to under 5 minutes to go in the show.
Okay.
So I appreciate you hanging around. I know it must have been aggravating, dealing with the technical issues, but I appreciate that you stuck it out because you were a wonderful guest through it all, and I hope you had a good time.
I had a great time, and I'm sorry. I know some of the glitch was on my end, and sometimes these Zoom things are really frustrating. So I unfortunately I contributed to the problem. So
You didn't contribute to it. It's not your fault.
No, I didn't have.
the headphone jack in the right place. I could hear myself, but I couldn't hear you. Then when I could hear you, it didn't work out still. So we tried. I think we gave it the good college try, Harrison.
We gave it a good college try, and we succeeded. All right, well, so what I want you to do for the next couple of minutes is just look at your camera or your computer, give shouts out to people that are going to see the show, because a lot of them are, and then we'll wrap it up with my music here.
I have to. I have to think of everybody who's going to be watching the show. Well, like people like Adrian and Michael and Bonnie, and who else is going to be watching the show? Let me think. Paul, and hopefully you don't want me to give their last name.
You don't have to give any. I'm just suggesting so that people, so that you give some recognition to people that know you, and so they know you didn't forget them when the show is out.
No, let me see who else. Bob. Yeah, Bob is out there. He's watching.
And Jen, his wife, hopefully was watching as well. And I have a lot of folks. So yeah, and maybe even my friend Bruce, who's still out in California, he might watch as well.
Well, that's the great thing about YouTube. You can send it anywhere.
Bruce liked the post that we put out, so hopefully he'll be watching as well. So yeah, them and many other folks, I'm hoping will tune in.
Okay, we'll share it with the world. My motto is don't spare the share once it's up.
Yes.
Yeah, and we will. All right. Is there anything just before now? A couple of things. If you had a good time with me, and you have any of those people that are interesting or whatever, give them my digits, and we'll get them on as guests, either by Zoom or in person.
Oh, yeah.
I know you could have possibly come down today, but you were pretty. You got your trip planned, and that's it. So, is there anything besides the trip tonight that you got in the horizon that you want to mention real quick before we wrap the show up? Like any concerts or any shows somewhere that you're going to be doing?
Unfortunately, I've been.
If not, that's fine too.
I would love to say I have some stuff lined up, but unfortunately.
Because of everything going on, it's a lot of the venues I play at are. Mostly what I'm doing is showing up at some open mics and some sessions and doing that all over the North Shore. But it just depends on who's still allowing live music these days. So unfortunately, I wish I could give you something more specific, but thank you for asking.
Oh, yeah, I always ask. Just quick question. Did you ever play at the Cabot?
At the Cabot Theater?
Yes.
No, never. That's quite a good venue. I haven't gotten in there. Yeah, but they're getting some awesome performers in there. Some nationally known people are really great.
Yeah, and they had the 100th anniversary too, I think, last year.
They did, and they've
Really, I'm really glad they're keeping that because that's a wonderful, old school theater. It's
Yeah,
beautiful,
like
and
Fenway.
yes, like Fenway, and they're getting really good. A lot of good like rock and folk and and jazz musicians, all sorts of really great people in there.
Well, if you ever play, let me know and I'll come up and see you.
I will, and I'm hoping to. And one of the things I'm hoping to get my own website up there. I do have a Facebook page, but I'm working on my own website because I've always focused on my band's website, and so I have got to get one up for myself.
Well, you deserve it. You've earned it, man. Okay, are you ready? Are you,
Harrison.
Listen, when we finish, we're going to finish the show. Will you hang around for about another minute to do pictures for Facebook? Joe will take them, and then I can post them, and he can head for New Hampshire.
okay,
All
that's
right,
fine.
all right, folks. Thanks for watching Topic Time. We're going to wrap it up now. Happy 2022. More great episodes to follow. See you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.